Have you ever wondered how some people can work 40 hours a week for 40 years and still retire broke? Well, here's the truth nobody wants to admit. Most people will never build wealth. And no, not because they're not smart, not because they're not trying, but because the game is completely rigged and they're too busy playing checkers on some random chessboard. Look, my goal for this video is to completely break down 10 brutal reasons why most people will never build wealth, and how you can dodge every single one of them like a financial ninja. Because if you're someone who wants to change the narrative and outlook on your finances, you're gonna wanna watch this entire video, not only to see how to quietly beat them, but to actually do it without showing off, without burnout, and without selling your soul. So let's jump right into it. Reason number one, they confuse income with wealth. Tell me if this sounds familiar. Bro, I just got a raise. Cool. And most people mistake making more money for having more money. But here's the harsh truth. High income means nothing if you've got high expenses. It's like filling a bucket with a hole in the bottom. No matter how fast the water flows in, it's still leaking. Wealth is not what you earn. Wealth is what you keep, grow, and protect. But here's the thing. Income buys lifestyle. Wealth buys freedom. And when you confuse the two, you end up with fancy stuff and no security. This is the wealth trap. Most people treat income like it's the finish line, when in reality, it's just the starting block. They get the job, they get the salary, and suddenly it's, let me get that $1,200 couch. I deserve this vacation. Let's DoorDash sushi 3 times a week because we're adulting. So here's your first wealth move. Don't flex your income. Flex your net worth. Build assets that quietly pay you while you sleep. But even if you're smart enough to avoid this trap, the next one hits even harder because it feels like success when it's actually a silent money leak. Let's talk about lifestyle inflation, the expensive lie we tell ourselves after every raise. Reason number 2, they upgrade their lifestyle, not their mindset. Okay, pop quiz. What's the first thing most people do when they get a raise? A, invest it. B, pay off debt. Or C, buy a slightly shinier version of everything they already own. Spoiler alert, the answer is almost always C. They make more money and immediately go. Time for a better car, fancier brunch, and a closet full of I work in finance blazers. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it's basically the financial equivalent of eating more just because you burned 100 calories on a treadmill. Here's how it plays out. You go from making $60,000 to $80,000 a year. Instead of investing the extra $20,000, you get a new car, upgrade your phone, eat out more, subscribe to 6 streaming services you don't even use. The worst part? You feel successful, but you're just stuck on a more expensive treadmill. Because without a mindset shift, more money just means more expensive mistakes. So here's your next wealth move. Instead of celebrating a raise with a shopping spree, use it as a trigger to invest more. Got a 10% raise? Raise your savings rate by 10%. Got a bonus? Pretend it doesn't exist. Invest it before your brain gets any ideas. Upgrade your brain before your brand. Because wealth isn't built by buying more stuff. It's built by changing how you think about money before it hits your account. But the lifestyle creep isn't even the worst part, because what most people do next is finance a liability and call it success. Let's talk about the ultimate wealth killer, the shiny new car you can't afford. Reason number 3, they finance liabilities and call it success. Let's be real, nothing screams I'm doing well louder than driving a car that costs more than your emergency fund. But here's the thing, if your car payment is flexing harder than your investment account, you're not winning, you're performing. Here's the setup. Most people get a raise and go straight to the dealership. Congratulations, you qualify for a $55,000 SUV with 0% down and a 7-year financial prison sentence. Translation? You just agreed to send $700 a month into a depreciating asset that'll be worth half in 3 years. Here's your reality check. That car you financed dropped 20% in value the moment you drove off the lot. Meanwhile, the $700 monthly payment could have gone into an index fund and quietly turned into $100,000 plus over a decade. That's not missing out. That's buying freedom while everyone else buys leather seats. Here's your wealth move. Drive a car that gets you from A to B without wrecking your net worth in between. Buy used, pay cash. Keep it until it begs for retirement, because the only thing worse than a flashy car is being broke in a flashy car. By the way, if you want to learn more about developing the stealth wealth mindset. When you finish watching this, go back and watch our Financial Freedom series to fully understand how. Make sure to subscribe and join the channel as well to stay updated on all upcoming videos. Reason number 4, they sleepwalk through their financial life. You ever ask someone how much money they spend each month, and they hit you with that blank stare like you just asked them to solve a Rubik's Cube with their elbows? That's most people. They're not broke because they're stupid. They're broke because they're unconscious. No budget, no goals, no idea what their bank account looks like until a card gets declined. They're financially sleepwalking, wandering through life hoping that somehow it'll all work out. Spoiler, it won't. I mean, stop and really think about it. You wouldn't run a business without checking the numbers, right? So why run your life like that? Your personal finances are a business, and you're the CEO, except most people act like unpaid interns who just showed up for the snacks. Here's what I want you to do. Track every dollar. Use an app. Use a spreadsheet. Use a whiteboard, a notebook, a napkin, anything. Know what's coming in, know what's going out, and know what's left over to build your freedom. Because clarity creates power, and the rich don't guess. They measure. But even when people finally wake up financially, most of them fall into a different trap. They blame the system and then refuse to learn how it works. Let's break that down next. Reason number 5, they blame the system, but never learn the rules. Come on now, we've heard it all before. They say things like, the rich get richer. Capitalism is evil. Must be nice to have daddy's money. And while, yes, the system is rigged, here's the kicker. It's rigged in favor of people who understand it. Most people scream about unfairness while never opening a book, watching a finance video, or learning how compound interest actually works. Meanwhile, the wealthy, they quietly study the game, they read the tax code like it's a treasure map, they use leverage, depreciation, trusts, LLCs, all while the rest of the world binge watches Netflix and complains about rent. Here's the truth. You don't need to be a billionaire. You just need to stop playing victim and start playing smart. The rich didn't break the game. They just read the instructions. Okay, so now what is the wealth move? Get curious. Study money the way the rich do. Learn how to reduce taxes legally. Understand how to borrow to build, not consume. Master the rules of credit, investing, and scaling income. You don't need a revolution, you need a strategy. Because the wealthy don't fight the system. They weaponize it. But even after learning the rules, there's still something that holds people back. And it's not the system, it's fear. Let's talk about how it's quietly keeping most people broke. Reason number 6, they let fear run the show. Let's talk about the 4-letter word that silently keeps people broke. F-E-A-R. It's not taxes, it's not inflation, it's not even student loans. It's that gnawing voice in your head that whispers, what if I lose money? What if I fail? What if I'm not ready? And while fear feels like protection, what it's really doing is putting your dreams in a straitjacket. Here, let me give you an easy example to help you understand what I'm talking about. Ask 100 broke people why they're not investing, and 87 will say, I'm just waiting for the right time. Newsflash, the right time doesn't exist. Warren Buffett didn't get rich timing the market. He got rich being in the market. Meanwhile, your fear is costing you thousands in compound interest every year you sit on the sidelines. Now, I know this might sound nerve-wracking, but let's say you're scared of investing and you wait it out for 5 years. That $300 a month you didn't invest, that's $18,000 down the drain. And that's before compounding kicks in. Fear has a price tag, and most people don't realize they've been paying it for years. So here's your next wealth move. Start small, start scared, but start. Invest $50 in an index fund. Learn how to analyze a stock. Set up a Roth IRA and automate it. Don't wait until you're fearless. Take action while you're still afraid. Because the rich aren't fearless. They just don't let fear make decisions. Now, fear may paralyze some people, but others overcompensate with non-stop hustle, thinking effort alone will make them wealthy. Spoiler, it won't. Let's talk about the myth of busyness equals progress. Reason number 7. They mistake busyness for progress. We all know that one person who's always busy. Their calendar is color-coded. Their inbox has 4,000 unread emails. They humble brag about how they haven't had a day off in months. But here's the truth. Busyness is not the same as progress. You can be exhausted and still broke. The hamster wheel trap. Most people are running in circles, working longer hours, picking up side gigs, skipping sleep, thinking that grind equals growth. But what they're really doing is just scaling their exhaustion. They're chasing active income instead of building systems that generate passive income. You're not wealthy because you work hard. You're wealthy because you own things that work hard for you. Here's the wealth move. Shift your focus from hours worked to assets owned. Start asking, how can I earn without showing up? What can I build once that pays me forever? Where can I trade time for systems, not just dollars? Build a product, buy an asset, automate a side hustle, write an ebook, start a channel, buy a vending machine if you have to. Because the real flex isn't being busy, it's being free. But even the most productive person can fall short if they're stuck in short-term thinking. Let's break down the mindset shift that separates wealthy people from the ones who just look productive. Reason number 8, they don't think in decades. See, most people think like microwave popcorn. I want results, and I want them now. But wealth is a crock pot. Slow, steady, boring, and delicious if you let it cook. The problem? Most folks are obsessed with instant gratification. They want overnight stock picks, crypto moonshots, $10,000 in 30 days from a YouTube ad they clicked at 2 a.m. But the rich? They think in decades. They're not asking, what can I make this month? They're asking, what will this decision look like 10 years from now? Here's another example. Let's say you invest $500 per month in a boring index fund. In 5 years, it's nice. In 10 years, it's real. In 20 years, you're looking at a 6-figure wealth engine. Meanwhile, your buddy Dave has bought 14 courses on AI dropshipping NFTs and still hasn't paid off his student loans. Here's the truth. Most people are addicted to the dopamine of now. Wealthy people are addicted to the compound effect of later. They plant trees today that they'll sit under 20 years from now. This is the wealth move I want you to do. Ask yourself this before any financial decision. Will this move help me build freedom over the next 10 years? That impulse buy? Probably not. That investment? Maybe. That side hustle, if built right, definitely. This one shift turns you from a consumer of trends into a creator of legacy. But here's the thing about long-term thinking. It only works if you're willing to get brutally honest with yourself. And most people, they avoid that at all costs. Let's unpack that uncomfortable truth next. Reason number 9, they avoid hard conversations, especially with themselves. Money isn't just numbers, it's emotions, trauma, ego, guilt. Most people treat money the same way they treat their ex's new relationship. Ignore it, avoid it, and hope it just goes away. They won't check their bank account. They dodge credit card statements. They avoid budgeting like it's a haunted house full of financial ghosts. Why? Because it forces them to confront the truth. And truth? That stuff is heavy. The emotional side of money. See, money isn't just math. It's trauma. It's childhood conditioning. It's the shame from bad decisions, missed opportunities, and financial FOMO. It's the voice in your head that says, I'm not good with money. It's too late for me. If I ignore it long enough, maybe it'll fix itself. Spoiler alert, it won't. Real life example. Ever met someone who knows they're overspending, but every time they try to budget, they get overwhelmed, frustrated, and end up rage buying something online just to feel in control again? Yeah, that's not a spending problem, that's an avoidance problem. And avoidance is the gateway drug to staying broke. Here's your quiet wealth move. Treat your financial life like a business. Be ruthless. Be honest. Be surgical. Audit your subscriptions. Stare down your debt. Ask yourself, is this expense helping me build the life I want? Because millionaires, they face their numbers, even when it hurts. Wealth begins when you stop lying to yourself. And now, we've arrived at the final trap. The one that silently wrecks the wealth of millions, without them even realizing it. It's not what they do, it's what they never create. Let's talk about the hidden cost of being just another consumer. Reason number 10, they consume more than they create. Let's cut straight to it. Most people are professional consumers. They scroll, they stream, they binge, they shop, they double tap memes. They know what their favorite influencer had for breakfast. But ask them what they've built and you'll get crickets. It pretty much goes like this. They've watched 300 hours of finance YouTube, but never started investing. They've listened to every get-rich podcast, but never launched a product. They know every trending business idea, but haven't taken a single step toward one. Meanwhile, the wealthy, they're playing a different game. They create, own, publish, sell, license, building. They don't just use the platforms, they profit from them. The harsh equation, creators own equity, consumers rent entertainment. You're either building something that grows in value or feeding someone else's algorithm for free. There is no middle. So what's the wealth move? Make the shift from scrolling to shipping. Start a blog, launch a digital product, build a course, monetize your skills, create a niche service, sell on Etsy, record a podcast, write an ebook, build an email list. It doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to start. Because creators don't just build income streams, they build freedom engines. You can either be the audience or you can own the stage. Bottom line is this: most people won't build wealth because they're trying to look rich in a world that rewards quiet ownership. They confuse effort with strategy, income with freedom, and short-term pleasure with long-term power. But you now know the game. You know the traps. And more importantly, you know how to win silently. Remember, stay quiet, stay rich, stay underestimated. Comment, "I'm building wealth," if you're done playing small. And hey, if you found this valuable, here's your next move. Watch this video next. It breaks down the exact tactics millionaires use in silence to stack cash while everyone else scrolls memes. We'll see you in the next one.